What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, I am reviewing Santa's Sleigh. I remember watching this a few years ago because this was I just saw it was Goldberg. It was a Killer Santa movie, so I just checked it out, and man, I forgot. This is a rewatch. So the first time I was just like, wow, this is a crazy fucking film, and rewatching it, I actually like it more. I mean, initially, yeah, I was like, yeah, it's kind of bad, but to be honest, it's a fucking hilarious movie. Yeah, objectively, it's not great, but it's a fun fucking movie. That fucking opening where you got Santa just come in and just kill everybody. You have Fran Drescher. You have the dude from fucking Misery. He's in like a lot of movies. Yeah, pretty like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the most money went in that opening scene for sure, because those were like some known actors. Like they had like all just for that fucking scene, and then the rest is just a bit of unknowns. But it was a fun fucking movie, to be honest. It's a fun premise. So the idea is that the reason Santa was all jolly is because he was essentially forced. He lost a game and basically and was cursed to be pretty much the jolly Santa, and then in around 2005 is when the curse would break, and that's when Santa reverts back to just starting killing people. So, and yeah, there's a scene he goes into a strip club and just kills her. He kills people in pretty crazy ways. Like that opening scene, he like fucking kills the patriarch. He stabs his hands with like fucking two pitchforks, and then stuffs his mouth with a turkey leg. Um, Sets Fran Drescher on fire. like um yeah, and then even in one of the later scenes, he fucking kills people with like a fucking stripper pole. Like he pulls the stripper pole out of the floor, and it's a genuinely funny movie. Like I had fun with it. I think you will too. It's not objectively good, like in that sense. Like the acting's pretty bad. You don't really care about this kid Nicholas and his girlfriend Mary, who's his uncle turns out is the one who actually is the archangel that defeated him before, but it's been a secret. And I will say though, that when they go into the story of like why Santa is the way he is, and it's actually done in the animation, reminiscent of if you remember that iconic reindeer like Christmas animation, it's kind of done in that style. And I will say it's pretty good. That's actually one of the few positives having the movie, like genuine positives. Like it's actually pretty nice, even though it's rolling for a little bit. But he kills the store owner, that the store that Nick works for. Kills the owner with a fucking um, I don't know what the thing is called, but for like Hanukkah, the candle. Yeah, he kills him with that. And it's funny because yeah, Goldberg's actually Jewish. Um, so, and yeah, there is a scene he somewhat does a spear, kind of. So, yeah, it's a genuinely well made, not well made, but funny. I don't know why he said well made, but it's funny. Pretty good soundtrack, too. And if you look at it as like a comedy, you'll have fun with it. Like, especially if you're a slash fan, it's fun kills, some fun. It's kind of what the mean one should have been. They went all out with the Killer Santa premise, and they're like, let's just have fun. We have Goldberg here. We're gonna go all out with the fucking over the top, and that's what this movie was. So, because he turns out he's basically the son of Satan. That's why he initially was the way he was, and then he lost the game. Basically became the Santa we know for a little bit, and then it turns out that in 2005, because I guess the year was 1005 when it initially happened, so 2,000 years later, 1,000 years later, sorry, he becomes the Santa that he kind of reverts back to his kind of original form and starts killing people. So it is a fun movie, and that's all I can really say. It's not objectively good, but I can have fun with it. And Goldberg, you could tell, was having fun with it. Even the cast, to a degree. So, and they clearly did like a sequel. Even the way it ends, you have Goldberg reading the list, and it said, "Who's next?" Like that's what Goldberg said in wrestling. So, yeah. Out of 10, I guess this is gonna be one of the few times I don't normally do. I usually just do strictly one rating, but this I might do two. Objectively is probably like a 5. and I'm even being nice and give it that. You probably could really say it's more like a 4, but I'll give it a 5. And subjectively, though, I'm gonna give it a 7. Like I said, it leans into how over the top it is, and it knows it. They have gold like that fucking opening scene alone. It's like, okay, we're gonna have Goldberg kill all these big name actors in very violent ways, and that's what it was. That's clearly all the money went into that opening scene for sure, because these were like some known actors for the time. At least like you had Fran Drescher, you had the main patriarchs, the dad from fucking, and even though like one of the girls is like a current actress at the time, who I've seen her in like other movies, so it's like it's somewhat known actors. So it could, like for sure the budget went more into that scene, but yeah, it was fun. Goldberg comes in through the chimney, just breaks through, and just starts killing everybody. Yeah, yeah, that's all. It's what it is. It's one of those it knows what it is kind of movies. So, I mean, you're not gonna have you'll at least be entertained for an hour and a half, even if it's not an objectively good movie. So tomorrow, originally, well, not originally. I'm still gonna stick to it, even though technically, because I Aquaman's already on the seas, Aquaman 2. So I'm gonna watch that tomorrow, and I was maybe thinking about reviewing it tomorrow, but I might just instead of doing Apocalypse on Friday, I think I'm gonna review that, and then I'll save either for next week, or maybe we'll do it on no, Sunday I'm doing um Nightmare Before Christmas, so I might just do X-Men Apocalypse next week. Originally was gonna do it this week, but then I didn't know that Aquaman was gonna be up that fucking early. Like it's already up all on the seas, so I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. And might give quick thoughts in the Krampus video, depending on when I do it, because I don't know. I might do the Krampus video during the day. We'll see how tomorrow goes. But if I don't, then I'll just watch. Then I'll review Aquaman 2 on Friday. So tomorrow I'll be doing Krampus, which I just actually finished watching. So I guess before we get into Santa's Sleigh, I'll review this really quick. Mini review. Krampus was decent. I hated the opening though. That opening, how obnoxious some of the characters were, it was grating. That opening, and I'll get more into that tomorrow. That was like easy. I was like borderline ready to like not turn the movie off, but there I was like the Santa. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna make this joke. Like the open we got in Santa's Sleigh, I kind of wanted that. I wanted that scene at mainly the scene where they're having Christmas dinner. I wanted that the scene we got in that opening scene with Santa just coming and killing everybody. I wanted that for that movie. I was so like that opening was god awful in terms of how like aggravating those characters were, but they toned it back. They dialed it back once the movie got going, and I did like Krampus and some of his toys, like the gingerbread man was creepy. The fucking jack-o'-lantern, not the jack-o'-lantern, but the jester that's in the Jack in the Box, that was fucking creepy. Like I think genuinely, like that's why I'm mixed. I think it is part of a good movie. If they just tweaked that opening a bit and dialed back of the obnoxious with those characters, it wouldn't have been as bad. But anyway, let's get into Santa's Sleigh. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. So, like I said, I pretty much talked about the opening. Like, you have this obnoxious family, and I guess some of the people he is killing, to an extent, deserve it. Like, like these are like obviously a terrible family. They're terrible to each other and all that. Though there's a scene, obviously, fuck, I don't care. I'm not monetized anyway. where the patriarch, because he catches the guy, like, because the I guess Fran Drescher's like his daughter, or it's either his daughter or his wife, something, and he's like hitting on her, like under, and he catches her, and he's like, "Look here, you half a fag." It's just, I was not ready for that when he said that. I was, yeah, this video is definitely age restricted now, but fuck it. I had to mention that line. It was just so. And then, yeah, that's when Santa comes in and basically kills everybody. The guy tries to fight. The dude who's hooking up with Fran Drescher tries to fight, and he just gets his ass whooped. Santa kills a girl with a Christmas star, like, you know, a star on a Christmas tree. Like, the kills are pretty brutal. So, like, I think that's what kind of part of it kept me in. And Goldberg was great as Santa. I'm gonna say it. He was fucking awesome. He's not, obviously, like, objectively, he's not, like, the best Santa, especially compared to a lot of the other Santas. But I do like him. You could tell he was having fun with the character. It's very much like a horror comedy. It's very much a comedy. Like, the way the kills are, especially this opening scene, very comedic. You know, Burns and Fran Drescher alive. Like, yeah. They don't hold back on the violence in this for, like, more of a comedy-ish horror movie. So, yeah, that was a pretty fucking awesome opening. And the fact that they got a lot of some of these actors in just to do that scene is crazy. And then the movie really starts where we meet Nicholas. He works at this, I guess, Jewish, like deli place. Him and his, I guess, love interest. It's weird because they say love interest, like, but there's a point where she's his girlfriend. They just say it. So I'll just say girlfriend. And she gives him a ride back to his house. And this is where we meet his uncle, Uncle Yulson, I think is his name. He doesn't like Christmas. He's kind of like this crackpot scientist, uncle, you know, grandfather. And, you know, he's kind of seen as, I guess, a little bit of the town joke, a little bit. And he gets, I guess I'll jump ahead and just, I know it's a little bit later in the movie, but Nicholas reads the book and explains, that's why we find out why his uncle doesn't, I keep saying uncle, I'm meaning to say grandfather. Grandfather doesn't like Christmas. And it's because of Santa. And it turns out the real story of Santa is that he was the spawn of Satan and that he would kill people. He wasn't this jolly, you know, man who gives out Christmas gifts. No, he killed people. But he lost a game, like, where I think they have to get, like, some kind of thing into the ice. It's almost like hockey, I guess, a little bit. I'll just call it that. And he ends up losing to the Archangel. And he is basically forced to not kill for 1,000 years. And essentially, that's where the whole Santa we kind of know narrative was built around, was that. But it turns out he was basically kind of dormant until 2005 is where it was released. So he kills people in town. Like, yeah, he kills this rude old lady in the beginning of the movie. He, like, runs her off the road. And then he kills a guy trying to mug him, which I'll admit, that was pretty... He kind of kills kind of asshole people. Because there's a scene where he goes to a strip club because the pastor... Because there's a scene where he's like a pastor, he's like all preaching about, like, you know, religious stuff, and he's out there like the strip club, like a lot of people in town, and then he goes in there and kills them. He rides on his hell deer, which is basically a bison, or yeah, basically a bison. That's kind of what it is, like, and yeah, so he kills people, and that's gonna be the thumbnails where he just kind of looks at the stripper, and this scene was pretty funny, like when before he grabs it, he like sprays it with like basically some cleaner before he picks it up out of the ground and uses it as a weapon. That was pretty funny. Like, the movie is actually pretty funny, genuinely. I didn't feel like I'm laughing at it because how absurd. I mean, there are times I was, but it wasn't just that. I actually was laughing at some of the jokes in the movie. Like, even later, there's a scene where one of the main fucking, like, cops, I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit in this one, because the narrative doesn't really matter. It's just kind of Santa killing people while Nicholas is trying to finds out about Santa and all that because he didn't believe initially. Because one of the gifts he get is a gift from his grandfather, where it's like this clock that tells the time of when Santa is supposed to be, and it's because he has it because he wants to make sure Santa is. So there's a little bit of, I guess, somewhat, I'm not gonna call it lore, but I guess kind of lore, but so one of the jokes is he gets caught at a crime scene, so he gets taken to the police station. One of the cops is called like Sheriff Cock, and they make a joke. It was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of cock jokes. It was like that's when movies were fucking fun. Like how absurd this is. I'm at least enjoying. That's why I reviewed it. I'm like Evil Bong. I just couldn't do. I know there's a bunch of sequels. Maybe I'll give one of those a try. But the first one it was not. I didn't feel like doing a whole video on it. It was a giant skit. This actually felt like a movie. Like it was a fun one. So they basically find out that Santa's real because after killing the deli owner, Nicholas, you actually get a cameo from Tiny Lister. He's like a store owner, and because Nicholas there, he buys something there, and then because he hears over the radio about Heaven Sent, I think that's what the deli place he works at, goes there, finds him murdered. For some reason, the cops like have to take him in for questioning, even though you see the store owner like hung on a wall, and I get it. I guess they're gonna question him because I guess one of the things there's a scene where after Santa kills the deli owner, he runs into some like rabbis, like or Orthodox, like kind of Orthodox looking Jews, and they say a big red man, like. So this is when, he fully believes in Santa at this point. He tries to warn the sheriff, and the sheriff, like, obviously shrugs it off. And then after Nicholas leaves, Santa comes in and kills pretty much all the cops. Then we get a chase scene between him and Nicholas and Mary. So they run back to the house. And then that's when Santa shows up, kills some carolers who are at Nicholas's house. He gets in. Santa breaks in uncle a grandfather, I'll just say Nicholas's grandfather. He kind of has a little bit of a final face off between Santa, but Santa seemingly kills him with the rain. He makes a joke that Grandpa got ran over by a reindeer, and then we get another chase between him and Mary and Nicholas. They get to they hide out in the school, and they have to either hide out basically because 24 hours in Greenwich is the same time as, that's why that clock is there, because they tell them 24 hours is in Greenwich is 24 hours in the North Pole, so that's when Santa would stop giving presents. So they seemingly kill Santa. I'll just kind of jump ahead, but it turns out he actually, because there's a scene earlier where he has a guy with him in the sleigh. Turns out he was going to use him as basically a patsy to be the one to pass the buck on about the Santa murders. And then, because he kind of just goes off. Mary and Nicholas get together. It turns out Nicholas's grandfather is actually the archangel, and they try to play the game again, but Santa cheats, But, so Santa goes into an airport, buys a ticket, and then there's a post-credit scene where he looks at his list and is, who's next? I don't know if they're trying to set up for a sequel. I wouldn't have minded a sequel if they did one, but this is a fun movie. The premise was fun. You had a killer Santa, legit Santa, and I like that it tried to have a little bit of lore, even though the lore didn't make sense. It was still decent. The kills were actually pretty fucking fun. That's probably my favorite thing in the movie is how fucking crazy the kills were. Um, Goldberg killed it as Santa. Like he did a good job. That opening scene is probably one of my favorite opening scenes in a even for like a comedy horror movie. Like was pretty fucking funny. Like I'm not gonna say I recommend this movie as like a genuine movie, but I recommend it just as a if you want to get drunk or whatever, get really fucked up, and for an hour and a half see fucking Santa just kill people. Goldberg as Santa killing people. I mean, there's nothing wrong. That's kind of how I would recommend this movie. Not like it's genuinely a good movie because it's not. Like some of the acting isn't great. You may not care about some of the characters, but if you can just like that fucking stripper club scene was fucking hilarious. I died at that. Like I was. The soundtrack is fucking hilarious. Like they actually tried with the soundtrack. It's yeah. So I actually would watch this again. To be honest, this is definitely one I would watch again for sure. Maybe not like as a legit Christmas movie, but it's a funny, like hilarious one. So like I said, objectively it is probably a 5, but as a viewer, I'm giving it a 7. I had fucking fun with this movie. I died at it. It knew what it was, and I think that's one of those kind of movies. If it knows what it is, I can just get into it, and if it accepts that I'm just this type of movie. Okay, I can get into it, and that's what this was. So that's all I can really say. I know I've been saying it's fun a lot, but that's kind of all I can really say. It's not like the plot, and it does try to have a little bit of lore, like go into why Santa kills people. The Nicholas's grandfather is actually the archangel that faced against him. Like that reveal. And like I said, the best thing about the movie is the kills. I think the kills, I love how over the top they are and holiday themed they are. Like he stabs the mugger in the eye with like a fucking candy cane and then just slams his head over and over. But yeah, guys, that's all I can really say. Tomorrow I will be reviewing Krampus, and then Friday I'll be either reviewing or roasting Aquaman 2. So we'll see about that. But other than that, I'm gonna call it here, guys. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for all the subs. That's all I can really say.